This promises to be the clash of the Titans, Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk, and this after months of back and forth between them. This is the bout some said was never going to happen, but then Usyk expressed interest in getting into the ring with the Gypsy King, and Fury is also keen to face off against the Ukrainian champ. Now it seems to be on, and both fighters are focusing on little else. But what tactics will the boxers employ? They're vastly different in their fighting styles, and both are cautious of the other. So we can expect each boxer to get into the ring with a strategy in mind. Then again, you know what they say about a strategy, right? It flies out the window the moment the first punch lands well. Iron Mike Tyson has weighed in on the strategy debate. He says the only way for Usyk to beat Tyson Fury is to stand and fight. He added that the Ukrainian has no chance of winning on points if he decides to run in the ring. He'll have to trade with Fury to have a hope of walking away the victor. Between them, Fury and Usyk hold all 4 major heavyweight titles. And if the information from negotiations between them is accurate, they could clash at Wembley Stadium late in April. Usyk already has a reputation as a master boxing. His movement and speed carried him past Anthony Joshua twice. But Mike Tyson doesn't believe those tactics will carry much water against Fury. He said Usyk simply can't run forever. At some point, Tyson will press him into a corner. The Usyk will take punches, and he will get hurt if he doesn't have a counter plan in place. The only viable plan, according to Tyson, is to stand and fight. 5 of Usyk's last fights were decided by decision, and he won them all. But against Fury, he may not be able to do enough to impress the judges. Fury walked Deontay Wilder down in back-to-back slugfest before stopping him on both occasions. That is the style of fighting that will attract the attention of the judges, according to Tyson. It means Usyk absolutely has to move away from his normal approach to winning. Tyson said he believes Fury will come out on top in this matchup. A quick breakdown of Usyk's style reveals a whole lot. He's also taken out Anthony Joshua. This was despite climbing into the ring with a 20-pound weight deficit. The first thing about Usyk's style that impresses is his rhythm. He's in perpetual motion inside the ring. The Russian boxing system teaches the pendulum step as a staple, and Usyk has this down pat. The technique makes the boxer energy efficient and builds kinetic energy. Then, Usyk also creates pressure through volume. Usyk throws his punches in barrages, often 5 or 6 in quick succession. The sheer volume of punches frequently disorients his opponents, and this gives him time to adjust his angle to avoid a counter. Of course, Usyk also has the southpaw advantage. This puts him in an open stance against his opponents. Most orthodox boxers don't spend any time working on open stance mechanics. So, in their first bout with a southpaw, many seasoned pros often come across as rank amateurs. The outside angle is the primary dominant angle in an open stance. Usyk takes this angle easily, and he can maintain it all the time. So, this means he lands multiple punches before his opponent can regroup. Usyk's jab dominance is also legendary. There is a good reason why this is the #1 punching technique in boxing. It's the weapon in the closest proximity to the opponent, and it's quick, if well worked during training. Above all, it completely screws with the opponent's timing. Usyk is famous for moving his opponents backward with rapid jabs. The punches aren't necessarily hard, but they create pressure because they connect. He also frequently uses hand trapping or guard destruction. This creates wide openings for his punches. He alternates between pulling his opponent's guard down with his lead hand and following with a double jab. And then he hand traps on the second jab to further confuse his opponents. The great Manny Pacquiao had a magnificent counter game, and Usyk imitates it to a degree. Tyson Fury's style is somewhat different. He was destined to be great from birth, and remember, he's named after the greatest destructor in the ring ever, Iron Mike. He's unpredictable in the ring. A good feint will take you a long way in most sports, and Fury is a master feinter. His warfare is singularly based on deception. This ability makes all the other tools in his toolkit instantly available. He twitches his body, head, feet, and hands. This disrupts his opponent's rhythm and forces them to hesitate, and he's known to throw throw out multiple feints before punching. Then his opponents start expecting a couple of feints before every punch, and Fury mixes it up. He throws monster punches without feinting. His timing is hard to predict, as is his rhythm. Like with Usyk, Fury's jab is sharp as a rapier. He uses it to set up other punches, measure his distance, and above all, cause havoc in his opponent's rhythm. And he has a couple of different jabs in his toolbox. The more traditional jab comes out when he wants to score points, and he can also throw it from the waist to keep his opponents confused. The constant variation keeps opponents wondering, and all the while, Fury scores points. Also, much like Usyk, Fury moves like a dancer. His grace is not that of Muhammad Ali, but his movements are just as fluid, and he uses his footwork to create angles all the time. This is how he defeated Klitschko after all. He evaded Klitschko's constant attacks with L-steps and side steps, and all the while he created strategic offensive angles. His footwork allowed him to comfortably fight from an orthodox stance or a southpaw stance. Fury's defense is probably the best in the heavyweight division today. It's almost airtight. He has an enormous boxing IQ, and he understands the game instinctively. Opponents have to work really hard to land meaningful shots. Fury slips, shoulder rolls, and parries. In the middle of a heated battle, he slips under most punches without much effort or losing his balance. Of course, his footwork and feints also contribute to his masterful defense. Speaking of Fury's defense, it frequently causes opponents to engage in wild swinging when they get frustrated by his ability to evade attacks. That leaves them wide open to Fury's nuclear shots. Fury's defense was properly showcased in all three of his fights against Wilder. Wilder's haymakers went nowhere. Fury simply slipped under them and pivoted away. And then he came back instantly with a hard left hook or a power jab. Tyson Fury's power punches are a thing of beauty. 22 out of his 30 victories came via knockout. His opponents will tell you all about the power behind those punches. That said, Fury isn't the kind of fighter that chases a knockout to the exclusion of everything else. At the start of a fight, the power of his punches is finely controlled. He hits his opponents just hard enough to gain their respect, and in this way, he conserves his energy. He waits, watches, switches styles, and looks for the finish all the time. This fight promises to be one of the most exciting heavyweight bouts in a long time. Not only because both boxers are exceptionally skilled, and also not because it is a unification bout. More than that, it is because two ultimate fighters, each with one of the biggest hearts in boxing, will be stepping into the ring to face each other. Epic. Catch you ringside or in the next video, folks. We're out of here.